Hello everybody and welcome back to World of Warships Legends. My name is Spartan Elite 43 and tonight we are back in Atlantico. And this is another match from last night. You guys saw the Jean Bart match. Well, this is one of the matches that I was playing in the Atlantico because I was, having a rough night. So I decided to play some broken ships, aka the Jean Bart, the Atlantico. You guys know the deal. And in doing so, we ran into a couple of fun little matches that I think you guys will enjoy. You already saw the Jean Bart version. Let's give you the Atlantico version. So, with that being said, let's get straight into this, shall we? Now, being on this map, there's only 2 destroyers against us, lots of battleships. This has potential to be a juicy game, like right out the gate. However, certain factors are going to play into how this game progresses. And I'm going to try to guide you guys through my decision making during the game, how it may have affected the game's outcome, as well as some of the people on both teams that affect the game's outcome. You guys know the deal by now. If you haven't been here for very long, welcome to the channel. But if you have, you know how this is going to go. Basically, I like to try to hold my spawn whenever possible. If I spawn on a middle, I like to try to take a flank, usually opting to go the weak flank. But in this particular instance, this map really does support crossfires. It does. And as you can see, my team is spawned on the right. They're going to do the textbook, run and hide behind the island and sit there for as long as humanly possible until somebody removes you. That's what they do. Right? And I hate that strategy. Like, if you're going over there, have a purpose. Right? I hate that strategy. If you're going back there, fine. You can use it to limit who can engage you so that you can focus 1 or 2 people at a time or whatever. But generally speaking, have a purpose. Meanwhile, back at the Hall of Justice, my Atlantico prepares to enter the center. And unfortunately, my 2 destroyers both go to the same location on the map. This is strike number 1 for a team. You guys know I can't stand when 2 destroyers or more end up in one location on the map because it is incredibly inefficient and ineffective for your team. Now, sure, there are synergies that happen that allow your team to capitalize when you have multiple destroyers in one location and find another enemy destroyer. Sometimes you can get rid of that destroyer. But the problem is that's not exactly what happens. In this case, we end up with 2 destroyers in the same location trying to capture a base that's contested continuously for the rest of the match. Shocker that this does not work out for the team. Who would have thunk it? Meanwhile, their destroyers have split up. They've already captured 1 base. And I can't go in and contest as a battleship generally, especially in the middle of the map, when they've got their entire team in a position to potentially counter us. So, I have to hold. As much as I want to be aggressive in the Atlantico, charging into the center of the map with a destroyer there that I am not capable of spotting unless they're dumb, with an entire team surrounding me on all sides, is a bad play. Shocker. But, so we take up a position using the island to limit who can shoot us on the left side, and putting our guns to the right side where I perceive we are the weakest. We have 2 cruisers and a battleship out there. Neither of them are really doing much of anything. And as you can see, torpedoes are in fact coming this way. Shocker. Meanwhile, the Amagi and the Gneiso have pushed themselves into the cap. So we are in a perfect position to counter. Now, our battleship shoots at somebody, presumably the Gneiso, but the enemy Gneiso eats every torpedo known to mankind. Man was real hungry. And then I kerblastered his broadside for like 20k, and the man is just not having a good time, and thus he's not long for this world as our secondaries fly in from above to finish him off. Boop! Down he goes, giving us our first close quarters of the game. And we already have 33,000 damage. Now, if you're paying attention, we are now 4 minutes into the match, and that is the first person on either team to have died. If you're also paying attention, you will notice that our team is finally capturing the left cap, Alpha, but it just got reset. They're shooting our cruiser that's in the cap with them, right? Our cruiser moving in forced their destroyer out of the cap. But the cruiser is now very exposed with a lot of firepower against him. I don't know if you believe this or not, but that's probably not a good idea. Very few cruisers are going to be able to tank that kind of attention. Meanwhile, I'm still trying to help the right flank, and you can see that the Amagi is about to head out of the cap. Now, we get detected here. This is not the Amagi spotting me. Or at least, I guess it could be. It could be the Amagi still spotting me, and in fact it was. Because as soon as he hit 14.3, we went dark. At least until we fire our guns, but fortunately we still didn't get detected. But, we are now 5 minutes into the match. We have the left cap, they have the middle cap. We have the advantage in points due to being the only team to have killed anything at this point. But you can see the enemy split is over on the left, and now it's at this point that I decide, okay, it's time to start moving forward and see if we can't really put an impact on this game. You can see quite a few of their teammates are trying to move from that left flank over towards my flank, and I have a potential to get some crossfires. I can no longer shoot at the guys on the right effectively, so by putting myself in a position here, you can also notice that the enemy destroyer has put himself in the Charlie cap. Now, he didn't spot me coming across the bow, so he went around the island directly off my bow and went into the cap that way. And he manages to snag the Charlie cap right in front of 2 cruisers and a battleship. Now, Zara on the left flank is sailing around broadside. You can see that the split is trying to torpedo me, presumably, because he was the last one spotted on that flank. And while I'm trying to get this cap, I'm also putting effective fire on that left flank, trying to shore them up and get them out of there. And notice that our 2 destroyers are still in the exact same location. And we have now lost 2 cruisers. They've lost 3 battleships, so we're still in the lead. But we have to start getting these caps under control. I mean, yes, if we kill them, then we're going to be able to get the points lead that way. But contesting and capturing bases is going to be beneficial to us in the long run. And we absolutely, under no circumstances, can ever give up the cap that we've already captured. So that's why I'm pushing forward, trying to get rid of these cruisers on that left flank, because they are the biggest threat to my team. Case in point, Plymouth moves forward, I wasn't able to kill him, and he immediately kills my destroyer. Zara gets caught by us as we absolutely obliterate his broadside. But of course, we leave him with about half his hit points, and he starts turning to kite away. The Plymouth is right there in front of our battleship on that left flank, murders a second destroyer. Which brings up another point of why you don't put 2 destroyers, when you're the only destroyers on the team, in the exact same location. You're vulnerable. One play by 1 cruiser, in this instance, or a good destroyer captain, specifically a gunboat destroyer like a Split, is fully capable of sending you both to the Shadow Realm, leaving your team at a huge disadvantage. Case in point, we are now down 5 ships to 3. Our team needs a miracle at this point. They've kept resetting me this entire time. Moss makes a huge misplay here. We get the shot out, absolutely slap his broadside. The secondaries are doing their thing. He's panic smoking, overrunning his smoke screen. The Amagi gets a great shot against me, and not only the Amagi, but I know the Alabama's there too. I'm trying to turn away. Alabama gets a huge hit against me, and I have to get away from the torpedoes, which I do. Now, unfortunately, we lost both of the cruisers that were on this flank, and the battleship that was over here is running away. That battleship is going to continue to run away for the rest of the match, for reasons. I cannot capture this base, so I have now chosen to be more aggressive towards trying to get rid of these enemies on this flank. Now, what you may have noticed is that even though our battleship on that right flank is actively running away, he was able to remove the Amagi. So he's still engaging the enemy, meaning he's still useful, despite being in a kiting position running away. Now, at one point or another, if you're in that position and you're in that battleship, you've got to make a decision to re-engage. Now, in this instance, he is going to continue to be able to shoot things, at least somewhat, but he could have used the islands to try to come back around and be a little bit more helpful. Would that mean that the Alabama would then choose him instead of me? Who knows? I doubt it, because at this point, we see the Alabama is in the JAC fleet, which I believe is a competitive fleet. I could be wrong, but I recognize the fleet name, right? So we can expect this guy to be a decent player. And the fact that he's still full health this late in the game pretty much confirms that, right? I am not full health, but as you can see, Alabama has taken quite a bit of damage here. I know that the enemy destroyer is nearby, so I have to continue keeping that thought in the back of my head. I've got to try to continue to change course and put ourselves in position to take advantage of the enemy wherever possible. Now we catch the Alabama once again. He's turning away. The Moss momentarily gets spotted. I know I have to turn back towards the right, so I wait a moment for the Alabama to hopefully not be able to lob the island. He fires his guns elsewhere. I immediately make my turn to engage the Moss. Now, the Moss is going to be on the other end of this island. This is my one chance to potentially take him out. So I don't want to leave him the ability to disengage, right? I want to get around and get in front of him as quickly as possible so that we can murder him as quickly as possible. And you can see my battleship is still there. He hasn't run completely away. He's just, you know, in the neighborhood and at range. Moss is about to come around the corner. The battleship takes a shot at him, and I believe he misses, and then I take my shot. There's no chance that this guy was ever going to get those torpedoes off. If you're in a situation with a destroyer, you should have been already turned, ready to drop your torps. And that way, he would have probably killed me, but because he's like bowing, trying to come around the island, he was never going to get those torps off before I killed him, right? Specifically, not just from the guns, but also the secondaries. Like, you were going to die long before those torps were ever going to be in range or angle to be able to be shot. Now, me and the Alabama are about to have an epic showdown. We're trying to bring this game back. Our team, unfortunately, doesn't have any caps. Our battleship that was on the left side managed to get himself killed when he went into the middle, unfortunately. And now I am pretty much out here, the only person still trying. And the Zeton on the left flank did end up killing the Zara finally, despite that guy being broadside for the majority of the match. He did manage to kill him, but that left the Plymouth alive. Remember that Plymouth that went into the cap, murdered both of our destroyers right in front of that battleship and got away with it? Yeah, he's still going to be getting away. Now, this is a good shot by the Alabama, but unfortunately for the Alabama, like, you're not winning a gunfight with an Atlantico up close and personal like this. Between the secondaries and the fires, and then also we have the battleship still in the back. But look how far away from the fight this guy is. Now, we are less than 3 minutes. I've got to turn all the way back around to head back in the other direction. You can see the Plymouth is there. He is killable, but I don't have the ability to get my guns on him in time. He disappears, and unfortunately, that will be the last time that we see the man before the end of this game. We're still down by 200 points. Our battleship on the left flank has a chance to potentially kill that destroyer if the destroyer gives himself up, but is more likely to go down to said destroyer. I take a blind shot here solely due to the fact that I wanted to try to get the Plymouth's attention. I wanted him to shoot at me. I'm a low health target. I make a pretty tantalizing treat for him. Easy kill potentially, but it also would give me the puncher's chance to potentially remove him. Unfortunately, he was still behind the island when I took the shot, and me being the dum-dum that I am, I didn't decide to shoot again until it was far too late, and I was already detected. Now you can see the enemy destroyer out there, aka the Split, is spotted shooting at our battleship. Now, if you've ever been on the receiving end of one of those pan-European destroyers, specifically the newer ones, they are disgusting little gunboats that hurt a lot. Not only do their shells pin a lot, but they also set a lot of fires. So, needless to say, our battlecruiser is not long for this world, as the Zeton is going to go down to the gunfire of the destroyer. So, that leads us to the issue at hand, and that is simple. Why did we lose this match? Well, the number one reason that we lost this map is we did not ever, at any single point during this match, have cap control. Ever. We never had a chance. Why is that? The root cause of it was simple. Our team put all of our eggs in one basket and failed. This is a strategy that people seem to keep doing over and over again and not learning from. You can see I do fire my guns again. I don't get detected. He's now behind the island to my right. So I fired my guns far too late here to try to bait him into shooting. And then you will see eventually that I go around the corner and he will detect me. And then, of course, he does the obvious thing where he fires his guns in the last seconds of the match just to show where he's at, I guess. I don't know why people do it. People always do it, though. Destroyers do it. Cruisers do it. People just always do that. Last, like, few seconds of the match, they fire their guns like they're teasing you. I don't know. It's like the World of Warships version of teabagging, I guess. It's like, yeah, look at you, dum-dum. I won the game for my team by running away. I don't know why people do it, but they always do. It's so predictable, too. Like, you know it's going to happen. You can see I'm already turning, anticipating him turning and firing at me, and you can see he does fire at me. And unfortunately, there's just not enough time, so I don't even pull the trigger. Like, if I had gotten around there sooner, there's a chance that we could have potentially gotten the kill on that guy, but yeah, unfortunately it wasn't a thing. But 1,457 base XP. Our 2 destroyers did come second and third on the team, but unfortunately for our team, they were too close to one another and weren't as effective as they could have been had they split up and tried to conquer more ground. They could have been a lot more effective that way, at least in my opinion. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below, and if you like what I'm doing, punch the like button, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and as always, I will see you in the next video.